Hey guys, it's your boy 107 here, and I've been saying it since I had a voice on TikTok. I said it in the last video, I'll be saying it in the next. It's always Microsoft, dude. It's always Microsoft. Leakers and former 343 Industries devs had reached out to Mint Blitz to let him in on some insider information. From them, he learned that not only was the entire reason Halo Infinite was scuffed was because of Microsoft, and they wanted to focus on the multiplayer instead of the campaign, but also the lack of Halo stories and cut multiplayer story and the small content updates for Halo Infinite are all because of Microsoft and their layoffs. And furthermore, the Halo Infinite Battle Royale has been unfortunately canceled. I personally wasn't going to play it unless it was somehow very important narratively, which leakers say it very well could have been. However, the project was played weekly by 343 Industries employees. It had singles, duos, and squads playlists, meaning that it was pretty much almost finished. It just had some issues. But however, leakers had suggested that it wasn't much of a battle royale as it was more like Halo 5 Warzone, being a PvPvE experience, going up against with your team, against other teams, as well as AI, enemies, high-value targets, brutes banished, and maybe even other enemies. And apparently, however, there were some very bad instability issues, making it very hard to play the game and to actually play test and actually have the game come out. It just couldn't come out like this. But I want to go over some of the cool things, the things that you would have liked to see, the things that people would have liked to enjoy. Number one is you get to spawn in an ODST launch bay and drop feet first into hell in your own drop pod. That alone makes me sad it got canceled. This is one thing that I've always kind of fantasized about with Halo, is being an ODST and dropping feet first into hell. And I've always, ever since Halo 3 ODST, I've always wanted like a multiplayer game mode where you're spawning in an ODST drop pod and you're dropping into the map. I just always thought that was so cool. Like imagine you're playing Halo Infinite, right? And there's a game mode and you just spawn in ODST drop pods, and anytime somebody dies, a new drop pod drops in, you get to change where your drop pod goes, kind of like Helldivers does. That would be so cool. And that alone makes me sad that it got canceled. Now, the idea for the map was to be on fragments of Zeta Halo with several different biomes. This includes like snowy biomes and like desert biomes, swamp biomes, alpines. It was going to be lots of biomes that we haven't seen in the campaign, lots of biomes that we have seen and haven't seen from the multiplayer. And because of the fragments situation, there was going to be manned cannons to get you from one fragment to another, or you could just, fly over those. And I'll mention that in a little bit. But you could compete and you can complete mini objectives to gain mini power-ups like shields, power items, and equipment, which I assume would have been like saving Marines and taking out high-value targets. And some leaks suggest it would have been taking out enemies, holding zones, and securing zones as well. And that kind of makes me sad because imagine you're walking around with your squad on Zeta Halo and all of a sudden there's like a bunch of Marines getting saved by a bunch of Spartans and you just show up and just kill them all. Just ruin their objective. Like that'd be so cool. That'd be so dumb. Like it's just dumb fun. And that's one thing that I've been wanting for a while. It's just dumb fun from Halo, and to see something like that get cut is very sad. But there were some new vehicles and weapons getting added into the game, including the motherfucking Falcon. And apparently it has been 100% shippable for a while. It's likely they were waiting for the Battle Royale to drop with it, so we might be getting a Falcon pretty soon in the multiplayer. But this goes back to when I said that the map would have been on fragments. I mean, seriously, in a Falcon, like a Falcon, you've got 4 seats, 4 members in your squad, and you can just fly in the sky over the fragments and just drop in on a squad and just instantly take them out and take their shit. Like to me, that sounds so awesome. Now, I personally hate Battle Royales, and I've played most of them. Generally, this game mode made it sound better than Fortnite, Call of Duty Warzone, and Apex Legends. Apex Legends, you're building weapons, trying to get the better loadout than the other players, and also outskill the other players. Call of Duty Warzone is the same thing, but you can also have your own loadouts in the game as well. Fortnite was basically just you find the best weapons on the ground, and there was some attachment upgrades that they've been doing recently, but OG Fortnite was always you just find the weapons on the ground. And to hear what they were doing with Halo Infinite, with the Halo Battle Royale, it kind of got me excited because I'd figure if you're getting power weapons from completing these objectives, you were probably dropping in, finding weapons on weapon racks and weapon chests and stuff, getting weapons, probably not going to be needing to kind of get attachments onto these weapons, but instead you're just getting the weapon. So it's more of outskilling your opponent. However, if you complete these objectives, you can get better weapons. And as we know with the Halo formula, more power weapons on your team, the better chances you're going to win a gunfight. So to imagine, it's going to be very heavily focused into those mini objectives, trying to get these mini these power-ups and these weapons and power weapons and stuff, which would be very integral for the end of the game. And that sounds so cool that just the Halo version of that just sounds so cool to me. But we gotta ask, with how cool this Battle Royale seems to be, why was it canceled? Due to layoffs and the increase of the workload for the next Halo games, 343 Industries no longer had the resources to finish the game out. Obviously, Halo Infinite's been there for 3 years. Mind you, it took 3 years between Halo 4 and 5 to release. It's taken 6 from Halo 5 to Halo Infinite. So it's very clear that they wanted to focus on the next Halo games and get it released allegedly for around 2026, which is what leakers have been saying, which again is 5 years after Halo Infinite released. So they've got 2 years to work on this game, and I can understand they want to get it started and they want to get it done as soon as possible and as well as possible. So they couldn't afford to have this thing going on in the background. And with the layoffs, with Microsoft's layoffs, they couldn't afford it anyways, and they couldn't afford the manpower on it because they had to push their manpower onto the next game. But they no longer have the resources to finish the game mode, especially in regards with how frustrating it was to work with the Slipspace engine. I mentioned earlier that the game mode had stability issues. That was because of the Slipspace engine. The engine made working on the game and playing the game extremely hard to do, and if you had more than a couple of groups of people, and you had on this big of a map, it had a tendency to crash a lot. Which is frustrating, and to try to fix those issues in the Slipspace engine was even more frustrating because the engine just couldn't handle it. And so on top of the 6 months it took devs to learn the Slipspace engine, they also couldn't do anything because they couldn't fix anything, because it was just that frustrating to work on. Which is very sad, but also we've been knowing this with Halo Infinite and its release, and with the multiplayer. We've known the Slipspace engine has been frustrating to work on, which is why they're moving away from the Slipspace engine and going towards the Unreal Engine, which I am excited for personally. But personally, I could have done without the Battle Royale. In my opinion, it shouldn't have ever been considered. As of 2024, the Battle Royale genre is dying out. Fortnite has lost so much player base that they had to return the OG seasons for nostalgia players. I don't hear anyone saying Warzone is a good game anymore. And I don't hear anyone that plays it either. I don't know anyone that plays it either. And Apex, although thriving due to the operator-based genres like Valorant and Rainbow Six Siege, it's not doing as well as it once was. It is still doing very well, just not as it once was. Now, personally, Halo wouldn't have been able to compete with Apex Legends because all it has is Halo on its back. It doesn't have operator-based genres. Fortnite and Warzone is a completely different game, and it would kind of operate similar to Warzone in that the only people that are playing it are either playing it because it's free or they're playing it because they're Call of Duty fans. That's it. So I would have expected the trajectory for the Halo Infinite Battle Royale to kind of end up the same way that Warzone is. Very good game that a lot of people watch and some people enjoy, but you hardly know anybody that plays it. And when you do, I mean, I don't see how it's fun either. But personally for me, I am more frustrated that all this cool content was cut. I would have loved to see all this cool content, and I'm sad that it was wasted, and all the time, the effort that they put into this could have been put into a campaign DLC or multiplayer updates that more people would have enjoyed instead. And instead, that time was wasted, and it all ended up in cut content. I mean, imagine they put all the time and work that they put into Project Tatanka, or whatever they call it now, and in the Battle Royale, instead of putting their effort into the Battle Royale, they put it into the multiplayer. We would have gotten the Falcon. We would have gotten more dev-made maps. We would have had more game modes. We would have had more. Or they move into a campaign DLC and drop a little DLC with like an ODST base onto the Zeta Halo. Like, imagine how cool it could have been. Thank you guys so very much for coming along and watching my video. It means so much to me personally on just another level. So I want to thank you guys so very much for getting to this part of the video. Please do like and subscribe if you enjoyed. If you didn't, that's okay, man. Not everything you're expected to enjoy, and I'm not going to pander any of my content towards you. But I hope you guys really did enjoy it. I hope you guys do agree, and if you guys don't agree with what I have to say, that's okay. But I am curious, what do you guys think on this whole situation? Do you think that 343 had the right to cancel this? Do you hope that 343 has the continuation of this? Or did you even really care? That's really it, guys. Please check out my TikTok. I post more over there. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Love you guys. Peace.